bike racer or a motocrosser, the name of the game is win. Get there first. If you want to be there ahead of everyone else, you need to be better. I can't tell you which gear to start in because there's a lot of things that determine that, like the size of the bike, the weight of the rider, how slick or how tacky the ground is, how the bike is geared, or how good the power is. What I can do is tell you the best techniques for getting the fastest and the straightest start, and make suggestions as to what gear you might start in. Okay, first pick the gear that you think will work best. Set forward on the front of the seat with your feet in front of the pegs, not behind. No, you're not going to run into your legs, because as you release the clutch, you're going to pick up your feet. Now grip the bike with your legs so you won't slide back or be pulled back as you let the clutch out. Next, use 2 fingers on the clutch, not your whole hand. This way you will be smoother with the release. Now, take a look at your hand grip. Be sure your arms are up and out for more control and to keep the front end down when you take off. Now watch the start gate. The bike should be in gear. RPMs on a 250, about half throttle to 3/4 throttle. On a 125, about 3/4 to 7/8 throttle. Don't let the RPMs be too low, or the bike will bog or simply not go quickly enough. The clutch is going to control your takeoff, the tire spin, or the wheelie. Okay, before you let your clutch out, hold the front brake a little. Yes, I said hold the front brake. Now, let the clutch out to the point where the forks compress a little and you feel the rear end lift up slightly. Here's the tricky part. Don't let the rear wheel spin. If the tire spins, you'll be losing traction before the gate drops. The whole idea here is to get more traction. Take all the slack up in the chain so there's no quick change in power to the rear wheel. You're now ready to go forward, and you are going to get the rear wheel to act like a tractor if you let the clutch out smoothly. When you take off, don't snap the clutch out, feed it. When your practice starts, work on trying to do a small wheelie as you get off the line. If you're spinning, slow the clutch down. Set up a little straighter. Maybe try a taller gear. But make it wheelie a little. You're looking for traction. Once you can get a small wheelie, then practice being more aggressive. Remember, you still want to hold that traction. If it tries to wheelie too much, stay more forward. And if it's spinning, don't slide back. Sit a little bit straighter upright. Practice, practice, practice. If you're starting on hard-packed, concrete, sand, or even something slick like mud, you may want to use second gear to stop the tire spin. On the other hand, if it's real tacky, you may want to try first gear. You need to see what works best for you. If you're still slipping the clutch in second gear when you're 6 or 7 bike lengths out, you'll want to try first gear because you're losing a lot of time and not getting away quick enough. However, most riders dump it too fast trying to get the jump. And as far as third gear goes, well, chances are there aren't too many tracks or too many motorcycles that you're going to be able to get a successful start in third gear. Some riders leap over the gate quick. Then they need to back out of the power because it wheelies. You need a smooth but quick takeoff. Most of the time, about 4 bike lengths is best to feed the clutch coming out of the gate for good control and for the best traction. Always know the start procedure. Watch a race or two before yours so you'll know how it works. How long they hold the gate, and how quick they drop it. Then watch the mechanism that trips the gate. If you can see the guy pulling the lever, watch him, or the pin that makes the gate fall next to you. Don't watch the gate. It's the last thing to move. And don't roll at the gate. If you guess it right, you will get a good start, but it's not worth the gamble. If you mistime it and you're pulling back or stopping, you're going to get the worst start ever. Watch the gate and be ready. If you have someone to practice with, work together. Let the rider on the right do the starting. The rider on the right should make sure that you are ready. Then the rider on the left watches the clutch lever of the other rider. When he starts to release the clutch, you react and see if you can stay with him or even beat him to the first turn. If the rider on the left gets the hole shot, he's doing something pretty good. Sure, the rider on the right has the advantage, but if your technique is better, you can beat him to the turn. If you can just stay close all the way, you're in the hunt. Do that 2 or 3 times, then switch. If you are on the left, now it's your turn. This is one of the best ways to work on your traction and reaction, particularly if you don't have a starting gate. When your practice starts, don't worry about using a starting gate. If it has deep ruts, why fight the lip at the gate when you're going to fix it on race day so you won't have to climb over it when you take off? Without the gate, you can concentrate on your start better. When you have your technique down, then you can go and work with a gate. When you get to the race, prep your start area. Look for the best traction place. If you need to, fill in the groove so you'll have it flat going over the gate. And pack it if you're looking for a little more traction. And don't rule this out. If you can't keep the front end down out of the gate, put some loose dirt down so that you can get the tire to break loose a little bit when you take off. So how do you know where to start? Well, there are a lot of things to think about. First, watch some starts and see where the hole shots are coming from. On the inside, or on the outside, or in the middle. Then watch the first turn and see if there are a lot of pileups on the inside or on the outside of the first turn. If there are no problems down there, then look for the shortest line to the first turn where you don't need to slow too much. If there are problems, then the rider on the outside may have the advantage. A good rule to follow if you're not first pick on the gate is to just get inside the riders that are most likely to beat you to the first turn. That way you will control the turn if you get a good start. If you're first, you have total control. If you're in the top 5 or so, you still have a good chance of a decent start. If you're on the outside, you can be pushed out by everyone if it's a tight turn. However, if it's a wide sweeper, you may come out all right on the outside. If you pull the hole shot from the outside as you come out of the gate, you're styling. If not, you still have a chance for a good start. As everyone piles up to the inside, you go around the outside. You need to study each track and be realistic about your start as far as how you're going to come off that line. Most of the time, stay more to the inside and you're going to get a better start. If everyone gets a perfect start, the guy on the inside controls the first turn. And if you're almost perfect, you could still come out with a hole shot from the inside. Remember, perfect practice makes perfect. You can't do too many starts. The start is about 70% of the race on a normal day. If it's a muddy or a dusty day, a national championship or a supercross, it's about 80 to 90%. The tougher the race, the more important the start. It's the only place on the track you can pass all of the other riders in one short straight. Work on it. It will pay off. Just ask Jeremy McGrath. A positive attitude is very important. No matter how good your starts are when you practice, you need to put it all together at the race. If you have done your homework, don't worry when you get to class. Don't worry about the other riders. You're the best, and it's time to show your stuff. When you're on the line, think about the start you're going to get and how good it's going to feel being in first into the turn and leading the race. Close your eyes, see it happen. Watch the gate fall and the feet of the clutch. Even if you don't jump first, your smooth technique will get you to the front before everyone else. Think positive and hold it on a little longer than the rest. Oh yes, there's more to the hole shot than getting out of the gate. You need to stay aggressive around the first turn. The first turn is almost as important as the start. Sure, you are looking good if you come out of the gate first, but you need to get around the turn first. And braking is very important. If you want to stay in front, you need to stay on the gas longer than the other guys and brake harder if it's a tight turn. And carry more momentum if it's a sweeper. Learn to use your front and rear brake as effective as possible. And use the gearbox to help you slow down for the turn. Here are some tips. Don't pull in your clutch going into the turn. If you do, the bike will pick up speed because it's freewheeling. Then you will need to mash the brake harder, and this will give you more chance of locking up the rear wheel because you don't have as good a feel of the rear brake when the clutch is in. If you don't use your front brake, you have a real problem. With the clutch in, no front brake, no compression to help you get stopped, you got a problem. Because sliding the back wheel is not good. There may be a turn or two on the track that sliding the rear wheel is good to help you make a tighter turn, but there aren't many. Just think of it this way. If you ride a street bike or watch a road racer, you wouldn't pull in the clutch while trying to stop. Even with a standard shift car, you wouldn't push in the clutch and let the brakes do all the work. Another thing to think about is the importance of the front brake. It's about 70% of the controlled stopping. Ask anyone who rides a street bike if they would like to ride without a front brake. Or ask that road race guy how he'd like to try and stop his motorcycle at about 160 miles an hour without a front brake. Even a car couldn't stop very fast if it had no front brakes. Oh, by the way, where do you think all the weight goes when you shut off for the turn and start braking? Forward. Now that becomes the most effective brake. Oh, and one last thought. When you start braking, don't push back. You will make the front end light, and there's a good chance that the front end will lock up and start to slide. You need to weight the front end back in, with a little more weight on the front for a stronger braking power. Just like traction is important on the start, the same goes for stopping. Traction is important. Control your takeoff and your stopping. Be smooth with both. Remember, always protect the inside line. Don't work hard at the start and down the straight to give it up going into the first turn or coming out. Hold the inside if at all possible. When it comes to what technique to use, it's as simple as 1, 3, 5. Watch the best. See what they are doing. If it works for them, with perfect practice, it's going to work for you. You can do what your buddy told you to do, or what the local hot shoe is doing, or even keep doing it the way you've always done it. But if you want to be the best, do what the best do. Only try to do it a little better.